Everybody, my name is Jim Altoff, and I'm coming to you from Burnsville, Minnesota. It's July 30th, 2013, and I wanted to share a little song with you. Hopefully you can hear, and just a few words. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. Will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. Will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. Will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. I am convinced I am convinced I'm convinced. I'm convinced that nothing can separate me from the love of Jesus Christ. And I just find myself in a really difficult place right now in my walk. And as a person who grew up a Catholic, who felt lied to and kind of cheated a little bit when I found out a lot of the truth that was contradictory to what the Catholic faith told me, I came to know Christ and became involved in a great church, and have noticed that broader church, not my specific church so much, but the broader, what you would call maybe an evangelical church, I believe is perpetuating lies once again. And this all kind of started just thinking about years ago, but more recently too, understanding that Billy Graham, who I think has been a pillar in what it's like to be a real Christian, reaching out to people, offering the gospel to people in droves, by the millions and millions for a life, reaching out to Democrats, presidents, reaching out to Republican presidents, praying with them, praying with anyone, pointing people to Christ, and believing that Christ can and will do a lot of the rest. But just like the Church of the Bible, which Jesus came back and was pretty obviously very disgusted with, and completely changed, and completely made right, I should say, and put it on the path to the new covenant, I think we're there at the same place again. Someone's convinced the pastorate, if you will, that waning attendance is due to people not understanding sin enough and not having a big enough view of God and His omniscience and His omnipotence, and in turn have taken the they called it a seeker-friendly approach, which is to open your doors to the lost and invite them in and give them an encouraging message and a cool or warm place to come in and be comforted and loved. And it's, very much like Jesus' depiction. Come, all you who are weary, and I'll give you rest. My burden is light. I paraphrase, but that's from Matthew. But I think, just like the Bible said about a different group, but as they proclaimed to be wise, they became fools. And we think we know all about all this faith and all this religion, and yet we forget the lost. And we pit ourselves against culture. And let's be honest, culture is just a talking point for the sinner. Okay? We're pitting ourselves against culture and sinners. And that is not Jesus' message. It's not Jesus' message. I don't care how you slice it. I don't care how you try to commit yourself to discipleship of your current members. Jesus' message was to be there, to heal, and to comfort the lost. And the only people he had discussed with and any angst towards was the church, who was misrepresenting God and the truth to all those in the world who needed God so desperately. And this is what we do today. We are back saying, wait, attendance waned there after the big mega church boost, and now we need to tell people what sin's all about. I've been brought to talk about this after reading an article about John Piper, and I didn't even realize this had happened back. This is several months ago in the Oklahoma tornadoes, where he tweeted verses from Job about Job's family's house falling in on him and how that made him worship God. And this is a new, they called it in the article, a neo-Calvinist approach to theology, where God brought down the Twin Towers because there was too many sinners in New York City, and this is so flawed. This theology is so flawed. Please, people, Jesus is God incarnate. He was brought to this world to show us everything we need to know about God. And this whole new movement, neo-Calvinist movement, to put God in his proper place on the throne so everybody understands their reverent fear for him and the quantity of their sin, is a bunch of garbage. God had every opportunity to send to earth the God he wanted to represent in the first coming of Christ. And all the Jews wanted that chariot with the flaming sword and the conqueror to come and wipe out the sinner and the liar and to put the righteous on their proper throne. Yeah, and how did he come? He came as a lion, right? Yeah. But you'd have never recognized him. It's a totally different kind of lion than we had ever imagined. It's a lion in lamb's clothing, not a sheep in wolf's clothing, or wolf in sheep's clothing. It was a lion in a lamb's clothing. It's a little baby, an innocent little baby. In poverty. He didn't have a place to lay his head. The Son of Man didn't have a place to lay his head. And he spoke out. Oh, he was controversial. But it wasn't against politics. How you can look at Jesus and say he's a political being when they're using Christians as human torches in his day. Wouldn't it be a great idea to maybe overthrow this Roman emperor and then start fresh with a new Christian church? Wouldn't that be a great political message? If that time was pretty political time then too. And there was sexual sin, and there was sin en masse, just like it is now. There's no difference. Sin is sin. And it existed then and it exists now.